Guys, it's Jen.
Brian.
And Tammy.
And we are talking with Tammy today from Caliber Home Loans about home loans. Can you even imagine? So, what should someone do to prepare for their initial consultation with someone such as your fabulous self?
Such as my fabulous self. Well, I'm okay having someone come in cold. However, if you wanted to prepare, usually when I talk to someone and have the initial consult, I always offer to meet in person. I find that that's important, or at least somewhere during the process of us getting you educated and comfortable about your finances, I always offer to meet. That should be something important to you when you are deciding on your financing for a potential property. But getting things together, what I really like people to come in with is an idea of two things. One is cash into the transaction. So you may have money set aside, and that may be all the money in the world to you. Let's just say $30,000. What I want people to do or think about is how much of that $30,000 do they want to part with to get into a house. So I call that comfortable cash in a transaction. And that's not only down payment. Everyone thinks down payment, but closing costs can be up to 3% of, or typically are about 3% of the purchase price of your house. So a $400,000 house, you're looking at $12,000 in closing costs. You've got to factor that in.
Yeah, mental math.
Mental math,
Whoa.
right. And additionally, sometimes, awesome agents such as Genevieve can negotiate the sellers helping out with closing costs, but that's not always a given. So you always have to have a plan A, plan B, make sure that you've got at least enough minimum cash to get the deal done in the price point that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Additionally, I always like people, I want them to be fiscally responsible when they're looking to purchase a home. I can always tell someone, the maximum qualification. I very rarely end up telling people that, because what I want them to do is tell me, how much are you comfortable paying every month? And then from the cash into the transaction and the comfortable monthly payment, we back into a purchase price. And we allow the financing to drive the purchasing process instead of, again, the house driving the financing. I'm happy to tell people the maximum qualification if they want it for, cocktail hour fodder, but I typically find that the last thing I want to do is put someone into a home and then a year later they're foreclosing or they're selling because they just can't afford those payments, even though the bank was able to give them the loan for that. So that is really where I would like people to come prepared. We can talk about, W-2s, pay stubs, this, that, and the other thing at a later time. Usually in between our second consult, I will send them an application and then they will upload some of the documents. The documentation is not a scary thing, really. The pendulum's kind of gone back to the middle. We had no docs before the housing crash. Then it went to, we're gonna have to have a blood sample in your firstborn. Now it's kind of come back into a position where there's just not that much documentation that you're going to have to provide, at least for the majority of people. Yes, slam. So that's really, it's more of a really thinking about you and your particular situation and what will make sense for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Slam.